everyone. It's a beautiful Wednesday on The View, on Your View. I am Obiajulu Olabisi Ugo, and with me are the ladies. How you all doing today?
Hi. This is on the seat. This is our host.
On the hot seat, really. How you doing, Tokwe?
I'm good. So yesterday I went to Ekpe again, and there's a lot of work going on. I reported the last time I came that I was impressed with the journey, the smoothness of the road, the heavy-duty roads they are building, particularly between from Lekki Turnoff towards Ekpe. It's concrete roads, and you know, from what we've seen, concrete road tends to be more durable for us in Nigeria. And then I announced that instead of coming back, I didn't come to your place because when I was coming back, I didn't go through Lekki. I went through Ijebu. I was going to come, but good. I went through Ijebu Ode. The link from Ekpe through Ijebu Ode, through those going to Benin. Beautiful, like they've done the road. It's remaining for them to do the bridge. It's going to be amazing. Like if you want to go to the east, you will need to come through Bega. You would easily go through Ekpe, and it will be faster and seamless journey. So opening up Ekpe a lot more for real estate people like us to market very well. But I'm happy about it, and travelers. Once you open up the roads, everything opens up. It's just about transportation that causes issues.
How you doing? I missed you. Because I was wondering when you said hello to I'm like, I'm the guest here, so you are supposed to demand that. You say hello to me first of all.
You're an in-house person. You're welcome.
Special.
Because you see me every day, symphony syndrome. Okay.
Well, you look amazing.
Thank you so much. It's so good to be here. It's so good to see you guys again on the show, to sit down here with you. I missed you too. Yeah.
What's been going on?
Okay, what's been going on? It's been all about personal development for me. Building my brand, my business, working on my YouTube channel, and all of that. Yeah,
I see a lot of work going into your YouTube channel. You guys, you need to watch Honeypot's YouTube channel live.
Really.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
So how are you doing, Mary?
I'm doing fine on a heavy note. I mean, when the story that happened yesterday, when we heard about the attack at the Nigerian Defense Academy in Zaria, is so sad and really scary. I'm like, if you were not afraid before, now be very afraid, because we know what that institution stands for. I mean, that has to be the most important military institution, educational institution in Nigeria, and that place was attacked, and people and military men were abducted and killed. Scary.
It seemed helpless.
It's really scary.
I know that we're going to. I was tempted to go into that discussion, but I felt like we're going to discuss Nigeria.
Yeah, I know.
We're going to be sad. Let's just be like, Obiajulu, please give us something light, you know.
My family is back.
Yay!
It was a good time yesterday, bonding with the kids. They were all over me. Mommy, we missed you, and everything. And then we had to beg them, please, you need to give mommy and daddy some good time. Everybody sleep in your room tonight. I don't want to see you around the vicinity of my room. So if you had come yesterday, I want to have opened my door, because I needed to pamper Oga, which I did.
And I see the sparrow speaking.
I know you'll be releasing it one after the other.
But it was good reconnecting with my family.
I know how Beecee is like inside the pocket with her family, and it's really interesting that you could leave them for that long.
All right, thanks, ladies.
The smile is different too.
You're glowing. Yes. Thank you so much, ladies. We'll take a short break now, and when we return, we look into the top stories of the newspaper. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
All right, so we'll be taking it from the Punch. Outrage as uniform-wearing gunmen invade NDA, errant officers to face trial. Consultants, other senior doctors storm Saudi Arabia Recruitment Center, another hold Thursday. Soldiers die in Army Detention Center, widow demands probe. Buhari Abiodun orders Mon Duro Jaye, says ex-senator for dictators. 28 states with storage facilities get vaccine doses. Commuters stranded as Lagos drivers protest alleged tax force extortion. 2022 budget, health, defense, transport, Works gets highest capital allocation. So who has what story? Miriam, I know you wanted to talk about.
So 28 states have received the vaccine doses, and the FCTs included. The states that haven't received the vaccines yet is because they say they do not have a backup cold chain facilities. So, and that's very important. This is where you would keep the vaccines, you know, in storage. And these 8 states, even though they were not mentioned, do not have those facilities ready. So until they get those facilities ready, the storage facilities ready, they won't be getting these vaccines yet. And this is also to just say that the Moderna vaccine has, you know, is about to, I think they're going to start vaccination today. And they said the reason why it took a long time, because it had arrived a few days before, but it took a long time for the vaccination for Moderna to begin because they had to look towards, it did not come with they say bar coding. Okay. So the bar coding is supposed to help you track the vaccines. And so they had to, yes. And so that's why they had to wait until they got that information. Usually most vaccines, when they come in with those coding, bar codings, but this did not come with it, but now they have it. So the second phase for AstraZeneca will also begin today up until September 5th. So if you're taking your first dose, please make sure that you go there so you can take your second dose.
Yeah, so do we have any other story in the Punch?
Yes, the budget. So the 2022 budget is being planned, and from what they have, from the current situation, the Ministry of Works and Housing, the Ministry of Defense, Health and Education are to get the highest capital allocation in 2022. The circular was also indicating the fact that the housing gets the highest. Works and Housing gets highest because there's a lot of development that needs to be done. Next ministry that will be, which is about 20% of the entire budget to be going to Works and Housing. And then we'll be getting, Defense would also be getting a lot of money. Then Health and Education also will be prioritized in the budget.
Did they tell us the percentages, especially for education and health? For
health and education, I'm waiting to see what the specific percentage will be, but they said that the expected percentage might fall within 26%. No, the breakdown is more for all the ministries. I can't specify the one for education yet, but I believe that they are among the top 4 ministries that will be getting priority in allocation.
Yeah, so I have a quick story. Commuters plying the Apapa Ushodi Expressway on Tuesday were stranded because drivers were protesting. So according to them, they said the personnel of the Lagos State Environmental and Special Offences Enforcement Unit has been allegedly harassing them. So you know that the airport road is being worked on. So most of the drivers now take one way, which is supposed to be understandable. But then the task force people will take them, pick up their vehicles. They have to pay about 55,000 to bail out their vehicles. So they were really upset. They put up bonfires on the roads. They were protesting. And you know what happens when we usually have a protest? People would definitely hijack it. So miscreants hijacked it. There was a lot of violence on the roads. And I think the police got involved. They were able to arrest about 16 miscreants. But they have, you know, promised that they were going to hear the protesters out and find a way to understand their plight. Yeah, so Daily Trust now. Why NDA's security was compromised. Banditry group asks Buhari to declare state of emergency in Zamfara. Fear of closure as federal government begins inspection of 54 car assembly plants. Over 100,000 people killed. 2,000 Boko Haram members surrendered in Borno, Zulum. Here we have Team Nigeria dazzles at Tokyo Paralympics opening ceremony. East no longer safe to hold delegates conference. NUG cries out. Dangote Cement announces 150 billion commercial paper. Who has what story?
All right, so I have the story of a group calling for a state of emergency, and a group known as Zamfara Circle has expressed worry over the spate of killings, kidnappings, plunders in Zamfara State, saying it has reached levels not seen before in the decade-long banditry that has, bedeviled the state. And, of course, we all know what is happening in the country right now, especially that part of the nation. Now, the group called on President Muhammadu Buhari to consider declaring a state of emergency in the state. And in an open letter to the president, which was actually signed by leaders of the group, Ibrahim Bello, and some other members of the group. And the group said the audacity with which bandits attack villages, town centers, and even the state capital is, unprecedented.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we have another story?
Yeah, I do have another story. Governor Babagana Zulum has said that about 100,000 indigenes of Borno State have been killed in this 12-year insurgency, in the northeast. He's also saying that, he was responding to questions by journalists after he had a meeting with the president. Mm-hmm. And so he was giving information that about 2,600 of the insurgents have surrendered, but that not all of them are criminals. Some of them are the wives, children, and family members of these criminals. So some of these children are so young, and they had already been trained in handling the AK-47. Wow. He says that he's assuring everyone that, they will go through the rules and regulations of, when you're trying to, because there's been uproar about how to handle these repentant insurgents. Mm-hmm. So he's saying that because not all of them are criminals, some of them also do follow the rules and regulations of how to reintroduce them or reintegrate them in society. Says they will be profiling them. So this is not something that is just because they have shown up, they will just immediately be reintegrated in society. They would follow the rules and regulations, but these are not all criminals. Some of them are victims of this insurgency over the years.
So the National Union of Journalists has come out to say that the East is no longer safe. So they were supposed to have their upcoming delegates conference scheduled for the 4th of October this year. And they're saying that the sit at home, even though they say they've suspended it, people are still complying with sit at home, that they don't believe the Southeast the Southeast is safe for them to bring over 1,000 delegates of journalists to come to that state, and that the Petrusobi, the National Vice President of NUJ and Southeastern Zone, is mentioning that maybe they should change this to another location. First, postpone the event and then change it to another state, that because he values his own life. He cannot put his own life at risk and the life of every other person. And so for now, they'll do that. But I'm just wondering, the level of commercial activity that would happen whenever conferences are hosted in communities. Yeah, true. These things have economical effects, and we need to preserve the peace of our communities.
But for now, zoom it.
Yeah, so I have one quick story here. So the federal government is planning to carry out checks with the automotive manufacturing industries. So right now they've licensed about 55 of them, and they haven't really checked so far. But according to the story, they said there's this fear that this check is going to happen because a lot of them have not even produced anything. They are supposed to have capacity to produce over 500, assemble over 500 vehicles. Monitoring and evaluation. Yeah, so this is coming. Some experts are saying this is a step in the right direction. They will be able to, weed off the people who are not real in the industry. Right. Yeah, so true. So let's move on to the Vanguard. Okay, we have to take a break now. When we come back, we continue with newspaper reviews. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to The Nation. Military launches manhunt for officers abductors at NDA. PIA one-year takeoff plan strange to law, says Kyari. Secondus suspension throws PDP deeper into confusion. Deputy chairman battle for control. NWC splits into two. Osho drops charges against APC secretary ex-commissioners. Insurgency, 10% of Borno residents missing, says Zulum. Federal government plans 13.98 trillion budget for the next year. Cost strikes out DSS suit against Igboho's men. Lagos gets COVID-19 machine. What's happening with the machine, Miriam?
Yes, so in Lagos State, first of all, they're saying, of course, COVID-19 vaccination resumes today, but they have also acquired a critical health infrastructure. It's a sequencing machine, and this machine would help identify COVID-19 variants and improve response to the pandemic and other pathogens. And, promptly detecting and understanding the genomes of pathogens. So this obviously is a very important machine. It's the first in Nigeria and sub-Saharan Africa. So well done, Lagos. Lagos State always just, it's a pace-setter state. Yes. Well
Center
done.
of excellence. Yeah. Any other story in The Nation?
All right, so in The Nation, I think I have this one. PIA one-year takeoff plan, strange to law, says Kyari. And of course, Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation NNPC Group Managing Director Malamele Kyari has faulted the one-year timeline set for the Petroleum Industry Act, PIA. And the President, Muhammadu Buhari, gave the timeline when he inaugurated the implementation committee headed by Minister of State of Petroleum, Timipre Sylvia, last week. But Kyari, speaking on in an interview yesterday on TV, actually said that the timeline is strange to the law.
Wow. I mean, to take 1 year before you implement. Why would you sign something and then you will not implement until a year after?
A year, it doesn't make sense.
You know, the story about Borno State is what I wanted to take about the fact that 10% of Borno residents are missing. The governor was speaking concerning this. He mentioned the story that Mariam took about 100,000 people have been killed. Said since Boko Haram started in 2009, it's been back to back based on the census, the last census that we have, and now 10% of the population is missing.
Wow.
So he mentioned the fact
that... Those are official records.
Yes. That he mentioned the fact that he's okay with repentant Boko Haram members coming in and dropping their arms. Let's have more of them in, because he said he has been attacked 50 times by Boko Haram, and he understands that that's their modus operandi, but that we need to do more to bring in more of those that are already disgruntled with the system there and want to drop their arms, that is willing to even give them a little dime so that there is a bit of peace.
A little dime, that's some money.
The money.
No dime will be given for it, actually.
Was that what the story said?
No dime
will be given for it. Okay, so while you're confirming that, have you seen that?
Yeah, you can confirm it.
Launches manhunt for officers abducted at the NDA. So the story broke, and it's likely going to be our hot topic. And they said the officers that died were as a result of, trying to stop the bandits from, getting into the building, and then they shot 2 of them. They were shooting sporadically into the air. They shot 2 of them. 1 officer was injured, 2 died immediately, and they succeeded in abducting 1. And they're already asking for ransom for about 200 million. So the Nigerian government is saying that the NDA, the Navy, and all the security officials are, searching for these particular bandits. Yeah. It's quite worrisome, but I think we'll go deep into it.
Let me just add one more story so we don't forget. So we remember the Islamia students that had been kidnapped 136 of them. So the school has said that the abductors called them to say that 6 of those children sadly have lost their lives to various illnesses while in captivity, whilst also demanding for ransom to be paid for the rest of the children. Really, I mean...
It's just so sad because these are children, they're not even adults. They are children.
Yes. Yeah. Children. A threat to the educational sector that we're trying to improve. I want to reiterate that the governor actually offered a dime.
A dime, okay.
Yeah.
So
he offered some. That's
we're rounding up now, so let's quickly look at the Vanguard. Is there any story here that we have not taken? Okay, all right. So, Unijust Umahi Ugwuanyi order evacuation of Ebonyi Enugu students. Federal government should incorporate mental health into national school curriculum. Wow, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Fury as bandits attack NDA, kill 2 officers. We've taken that already. 3% to HostCom, collective failure of N-Delta leaders. Controversy as PDP gets 2 acting chairman. Many injured, commuters stranded as transporters protest alleged extortion by task force. And last month.
All right, mental health to be incorporated into schools. All right, so towards ensuring greater intervention in mental health issues in Nigeria, the federal government has been charged to incorporate mental health into the nation's school curriculum. The director of Vivian Fowler Memorial College for Girls, Lagos, Mrs. Leila Olufunke Fowler Amba, who made the call in a chat with, this particular newspaper that you have taken, said that such a move was important to help demystify mental health. And of course, it is a welcome development because, we are alien.
She's charging the federal
They are charging, and it will be a welcome development because, of course, it is something that is very alien to us. The awareness is not so much enough, right now because, people
parents, teachers.
Do you get, people think that it is only when you wear torn clothes that you're mad and
run out into the streets.
But also to be fair, in the Nigerian sphere, especially like maybe media and so many other places now, we've started normalizing the conversation around mental health. So it is good that people are now asking the federal government, make it more concrete and put them in places like the schools where it will make a lot of
Let me quickly take the PIA. Another story about the PIA. There is no more exclusive petrol importation license for BOHA, BUA, Dangote. Apparently before, if you have a license to refine locally, you also automatically have exclusive rights to import petrol. But now that there's a thin, we'll say that there was a thin line that says that it's no longer exclusive for those that have refining license. Some agree, some disagree, but I think that it looks like people did not really study this PIA before it was passed. Like they did not know, and now it has been signed, and the process of undoing some of the things there will be more challenging than
going to even cost us
yeah,
a lot,
so people should be aware of the laws before they get passed.
Yeah, so as a result of the reported attacks happening in Jos, Plateau State, a lot of states are beginning to evacuate students from the University of Jos. So Enugu governors David Umahi and of Ebonyi State and Ugwuanyi of Enugu State ordered the immediate evacuation of students, Enugu and Ebonyi students, indigenous, from the University of Jos, and they think they took out 155 of them. Also, there was another report that gave Akwa Ibom also have evacuated about 75 of their students, and Oyo State as well. So everybody's just trying to save their own people, which is understandable. Okay, let's go to the Sun. Anambra Guba police plan crack down on ESN IPOB, fury over terror attack at NDA, confusion in PDP as AG chairman emerge. Gunmen kill 6 in Rivers communities. Igboho's associates still in detention after bail. Do we have any story?
Yes, Anambra police plan crackdown on IPOB. It's just a very simple one. It's just towards the coming election on November the 6th, and they're saying that they don't just want any mayhem from IPOB and another group right there. So that's just about it, basically.
Okay. Is that all the stories we have? That's it on the newspaper review. When we come back, we have a guest appearance from Right Foods. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Joining us on the show is the Executive Director, Institute of Counseling of Nigeria, Dr. Tolu Okoigiare, to discuss the roles of counselors in the society. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, you know, sometimes we hear life coaches, counselors, these therapists, motivational speakers, and everybody's wondering who plays what role, who is who. Can you break it down for us? Who is a counselor?
So at the Institute of Counseling in Nigeria, our certificate in counseling is about 12 modules. And in one of the classes are usually between 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day. So it's a whole lot of work. So in one of the modules, there's a topic, the different helping professions and what they mean. So we try to break it down for people to really understand. So I think coaches are people that, they say they don't tell people what to do, but
no,
I know you have, okay, you are a coach, okay? So you have football coaches, you have, you know, so I think, but I don't know that, I can't say much about the coaches, but for counselors, we help people to navigate life, take people from the state of incongruence to a more functional state. And for therapists, counselors, psychotherapists, even all over the world, there is still, you can use it interchangeably.
Yeah.
But psychiatrists are medical doctors who are like at the top of the table, and they give medications. Therapists don't give medications. Counselors, psychotherapists don't give medications. And there is one more psychologist. So psychologists are like, psychologists are like therapists or psychotherapists, or even counselors. But the difference between that is psychologists could offer psychological tests, psychological analysis for people that ordinarily you would not expect a counselor or a therapist to just do. You still need a psychologist to be able to do that. And if a psychologist is working with a psychiatrist and the psychiatrist is not available and he already has maybe the list of the medications that the psychiatrist would normally give, and it's an urgent case, and he is working with the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist is not around, I can just.
Okay, so now having explained all these things, and they seem, very important, then I'm wondering, why is it necessary to have a counselor then?
All right, so counselors are like therapists or psychotherapists, like I said, right? So psychiatrists, are supposed to be dealing with serious psychotic issues.
Okay.
All right? So when you are talking about your schizophrenia, you are talking about hallucination, you know, these are the things that psychiatrists are supposed to be dealing with. Now, when you are talking about counselors, they are also mental health counselors, not the lay counselors that you are seeing around. Professional mental health counselors who use therapeutic interventions, counseling skills to help people, and even counseling theories. So we don't counsel from our head, we are guided. So these are professional counselors. Professional counselors are doing the job of prevention. So people can easily walk up to them before it becomes psychotic. So I think counselors are actually much more needed in this society.
All right. When we're taking the news, I mentioned mental health because there was a part like that that said that it should be incorporated into school curriculum. And what exactly, because I was saying that it is still alien to a lot of people in Nigeria, and I really want to know what exactly is mental health. I mean, to the layman, what would you say to them?
So to bring it down to a way people can really understand, mental health is functioning optimally. When you are functioning optimally, it's a state of optimal well-being. Cognitively, emotionally, socially, even sexually, you are optimal. So you can withstand day-to-day stress. You can relate well with people. You can talk in the presence of crowd and still be yourself. So your social relationship is intact, your emotional state is intact, and every other aspect of you. So you are functioning optimally, and you are actually still making impact in your society. That is a very good part of mental health. If your mental health is intact, you will be able to contribute to the society in a positive way.
So even as someone who is very self-aware, like I'm a life coach, not practicing, I did NLP and all of that, and I still go through the emotional, when you said functioning well, and I realized that some people watching will not really understand functioning well. Like, you just realize you're just sad. Some days you're just worried. Like, you're anxious about, I need to do this. There are so many things I need to do. I don't know where to start from. Those are mental health issues. The fact that you're feeling things are overwhelming you. But our natural reaction, which is what I tend to do, even after I do my coach yourself system, is to retreat and go to church and pray. And so we've built a system for a long time, seeking counseling from our spiritual leaders. So how would someone who trusts a spiritual leader still seek professional? Why do they still need a professional counselor when they have pastor?
Brilliant question, and the major reason I'm actually here. I feel like it's not a battle. You know, mental health counseling is not a battle between the church and the professional counselors. It's about working together, because I feel it is better not to help people than helping them the wrong way. You know, and you know, helping them the wrong way does not mean that you are a bad person. It just means that you are doing it the best way you know how to do it. So for people who feel like, oh, I will talk to my church, because the churches and our mosque are like the first responders. So they are the people easily, you know, they warm up to, they just run there. And we are saying, if you have to do this, can you do it more professionally? So you can still use your Bible, you know, to counsel people if you want to. We don't do that professionally, but you can now blend it with professional counseling skill. So people need to understand that professional counseling skill is very important. And I could break it down to you, but I know because of time I can't do that, to let you know that what churches are doing could actually be better.
Yeah, so, I'll come to you, Miriam. So I've had a few pastors approach me and say that they want to learn how to be a life coach. And I was wondering, initially when I heard the first person say it to me, I was wondering, what did you see? At what point did you realize that you needed more than just, you know, preaching Jesus to them to get some people to be very functional? Now, some people have come to that realization, others have not. What are some of the things that you think we can start doing to get them to understand that they need to have the right skills to handle certain situations, or they can just push the people that come to them to those right places for those
And please, adding to that, must we all go to school to learn guidance and counseling to be a counselor?
Yes, you have to.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
You have to, yeah. You have to. People are born with it. Okay. There are people who are naturally, you know, helpful. They just want to help people. They want to see people doing well. You know, people like that, that is the essence of the Institute of Counseling in Nigeria. So we are telling you that you really do not need to have first degree or second degree in counseling or psychology. If you have that passion, we can help you to brush it up, you know, teach you the basic things that you need, and, you know, and practice professionally. Now, to answer your question, you know, what we are trying to do, that's why we are doing this breakfast meeting. We are having, you know, because counseling is actually difficult to explain, especially to Nigerians. Because we already have a mindset. It's like a hardware that is there, you know. So you cannot just come and be telling me, oh, come and do professional counseling. When in my church, when they are making altar calls, they will say the counselors will take your name and your addresses. So it's already there. You know, these are subtle ways that these things have been dropped, you know, in our system over the years. So it's difficult to just now wake up and say, oh, you need more. You need to do more. People that are saying they need more, they are beginning to experience it. They are beginning to see it. But we are saying that, come, let's explain these things to you. Let's break it down. It's actually, it can get better. Yeah. I mean, someone can always get better.
Yeah, okay. So my question is, apart from church, even just growing up in a Nigerian home, it's like, if you have parents who can advise you, why are you seeking counselors? If you are seeking counselors, that means you did not grow up in a good home. So, and then secondly, is also the cost. You find people at the point that they need help, it would have gone so far. You know, the problem is now a big problem. When would you advise parents to start seeking professional counseling?
Okay, so let me try and explain that in two ways. I'm a professional. So apart from overseeing the affairs of the Institute of Counseling, I run Intimacy Clinic. It's a private clinic, and I'm a sex therapist, and a marriage counselor.
Wow, yeah.
And I tell you, when people come to me, in a lot of cases, they will have gone to welfare, they will have gone to police. Sometimes they will have gone to village to see the elders before somebody will now say, oh, have you thought about marriage counseling? Maybe somebody somewhere. So it's not something that readily comes to us. Just like I said, it's like our cognitive setting is there. So we need serious resetting before we can start thinking differently when it comes to that. Then coming to having family members. Your mom, your aunt, your uncles, they are not professional counselors. You said they advise you. Counselors don't advise. We don't advise. You know, so they might be advising you using what works for them, you know, thinking that it's going to work for you. Think about your mom 30, 40, 50, 60 years, 70 years ago, thinking that will work for this new generation. Yeah. And I tell you, if you look at us as Africans, I don't even want to go there. I think we are messed up.
Yeah, so at what stage would you encourage families to approach counseling, professional counselor? What stage?
Right from the womb, if it's possible.
We must normalize it. But I know you have a program, and this is supposed to be like a specific program to get the right advice, the right counseling out. Can you tell us about it before? Okay,
so we are calling on churches to send in their pastors, their counselors. Head of counseling units and workers, you know, and we want to talk to you about the benefit of blending professional counseling with pastoral counseling. It's as simple as that, and it's coming up on Saturday. This Saturday,
Time?
And then 9 a.m. at Guiding Light Assembly.
Okay, I hope it's free.
Ikoyi. Yes, it's free, and there is free breakfast. Actually, Guiding Light Assembly is providing the venue and the breakfast. We are not even doing it at the institute so that people can feel free.
Yeah, what if you're not a pastor and want to join? Then if you're not a pastor and want to come,
We just want to establish this. We want churches to see the need for professional counseling.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us on the show and explaining, opening our minds to understand what a counselor is. And we've been talking to Dr. Tolu Okoigiare, and we'll be taking a break now. When we come back, we'll go straight into the next topics. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So yesterday, report has that bandits invaded the Afaka barracks of the Nigerian Defense Academy, NDA, Kaduna, killing 2 senior officers and kidnapping 1. According to Sheikh Gumi, if the so-called shy bandits could break into the territory of the Nigerian Defense Academy, one wonders where else is safe in Kaduna State. What are your thoughts on this? You can join the conversation and call us on 081-270-53687 or 091-390-76948. When this news broke, it broke my heart. And I was wondering, so where is safe? If the Nigerian Defense Academy can be barged into with all effrontery, where is safe? Tope, what came to your mind when you heard the story?
I was not heartbroken. I was scared. So for me, it was fear. It was the fear of, we've heard their attacks and all of that. But now, this is the institute that trains everybody. This is a strong message of power. This is not just an attack. This is I want to poke you in the eye. So I want you to notice me. I want you to know I am here. And it is a message of fear that every Nigerian got, and we got it well. And, and it's sort of like worrisome because it's a case of a stitch in time saves nine. Because there was an attack that cadets of NDA were kidnapped at a point, and they said that where they were taken to, that they were hearing the parade still going on where they were. Which means that these kidnappers were around. They've always been around. So it's not something that, when they are around you, but they have not gotten to you. There are also cases where we hear that, they attacked this community, and the army barracks was just by the side, but they did not come to they didn't see anything. They attacked that community, and it was just by a police station. So we've been hearing attacks going around the armies, where the armies are, and
we have been comfortable,
and there's nothing going on. Now they've come into the territory. This is pushing it too far, and I'm worried about the pace with which response will take place, because this is a show of power, and the army needs to do something to show that we're not bowing down. One person died.
Honey, but let me hear your thoughts.
So we are sitting on a powder keg, if it has not even exploded already. Because as Tope said, of course, this is a strong training school. It trains Nigerian officers. It trains cadets from other, African militaries. And then this is happening. It is the first thing, like fear. Where else is safe, right? And yeah, they keep saying bandits, bandits. And I think the federal government should just change that term. These are not bandits. When you're talking about bandits, it just sounds so simple, like hoodlums, like just normal. Do you get? So I think they should start using criminals, heavily armed criminals.
Terrorists.
Because I do not want to believe that they don't have insiders giving them information, or insiders are not even a part of it. Because how do you, in a normal estate, you have codes, you want to come in, and then you have to call someone, before you come in. How did they get that access into the academy? And then they succeeded in killing two officers and then one kidnapped.
That one.
It's a shame. So what exactly are we talking about? What are we about in this country?
Miriam.
Yeah, I hear you when you say it's a show of power. I don't really think it's a show of power. It's a show of how we have been so relaxed and how lazy we have become. That's the only thing I would say.
Complacent.
We know how Kaduna State is almost under siege by these bandits, as they like to call them. Schools upon schools, students upon students have been taken from that particular state. And then you have the Defense Academy so porous like that. You would expect heavier armed security around that place. I mean, that place should be so fearful for anybody that is a bandit or a terror, whatever it is to come. I just feel that we are really relaxed. And I was saying the other time that sometimes when things happen, it's as if there's a group of people who feel that this will not come towards us. This would not happen to us just for the sake of, because, we are the big men. And I'm saying when these things, when it happens, I read someone say, when something happens to your neighbor, it's a call to you to be careful, to sit up. It's also an embarrassment. You have to accept that it's a huge embarrassment that our academy was infiltrated like that, and then by bandits. In fact, if you say terrorists, we can even say, okay, they came in,
maybe Boko Haram,
flying in, throwing bombs, but they came in, bandits, maybe on bikes, and then carried these officers, and they left, and they carried and they killed them. This. It means that the military needs to, I don't know, it needs to sit up.
Also,
I think that's one. Secondly, also, it could also be that we hear constantly that our military, our security operatives are just spread so thin. So is it everyone is right now on the forefront in the Northeast running, you know, trying to catch up with all these different bandits and terrorists and insurgents, that they have left home base free, you know, to be infiltrated by these people? So for me, we should be very afraid. We should be very embarrassed by what has happened, and it's really sad that this is happening after everything, after all the signs there that Kaduna State at least should have been much more guarded than it has been.
Yeah, I would really like us to continue this conversation, but first of all, let's take a break. When we come back, I hope that our callers will call in and tell us exactly how they feel about this issue. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still talking about the NDA. And but we have, before we continue, we have a caller on the line, Momo from Maryland. Hello, Momo.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Doing amazing, sir. You're live. Go ahead.
It's okay. You know, there is a saying that those who beat the drum of war dance to the tune. That is where we are today, because when this whole menace started, a lot of people felt that most of the security agencies felt that it will not get to their doorstep. But here we are today, because we were asking what is happening today. I don't know how come a whole NDA where bandits could penetrate, kill, then went away with other officers without any defense. So who is defending the country? What you see today is just about politics. PDP here, PDP here. They are not talking about this whole issue we are facing today. The only thing you hear today, you see them going to court, fight. Who is fighting who? You see, this thing is coming to our doorstep. We just feel that it's enough. Not only the North, they're already here. They're in our rooms. They're already within they are everywhere. Some days, 2 days here, somebody was killed along the Ibadan Express. The lady that came for the mother's burial from the UK, she was killed. So what messages are we sending around? So I think the government should do more. The government should stand on their toes. Now, this giving order today, where you come and pass order tomorrow, another person doing any other things that you still see this weapon. Let me tell you, my dear, go out today, go on the street. 75% of these Okada riders, they are not Nigerians. I can tell you that. I spoke to one.
Thank you very much, Mama. Thank you so much for that call. Now it's in our doorstep, but I am worried. At what point do we proscribe these people? At what point do we call them exactly what they are? Honestly, because we've had, you know, it's been like they're doing the same thing over and over. They are carrying acts of terrorism against the country. Schools are closed all over the world. At what point do we call them now?
They say bandits attacked the NDA. I'm wondering, they're no longer bandits. If bandits can attack farmer, which is wrong, well, you can understand that maybe a bandit was employed by the cattle owners to attack someone. But when someone attacks your institution of defense, your training ground, did you see how beautiful that place looks? That's like the place when you go to NDA, you are going to be schooled on how to counter terrorism. Oh, this is where everybody is groomed to now protect our nation. And then somebody had the infantry and you're calling the person bandits. My worry is that we're fighting like a guerrilla war, which means that you don't even know who you're fighting. Like you don't know. Which seem to confound the our leaders, obviously, which is why they're asking them, drop your arms, come, we'll even give you a dime, we'll give you something to support you. But we need to be more intelligent about it, because we're not dealing with rational people. We're dealing with people that do not behave with rationality, and they have to be treated as the animals that they have been behaving as, and called terrorists that they are.
We have another caller, Peace from Jos. Hello, Peace. Good morning. Can you hear me?
She there?
Okay, I don't think she's there.
All right, so you asked that when is the time to call them what they are really? Now is the time. And I think we are very lackadaisical about so many things in Nigeria. So I think we're not even taking it from the roots. And the root is that, number one, do we even have data in this country? Like you said we don't even know who we're fighting. So do we have data? They've been talking about BVN, NIN, and all that. But the thing is, if somebody gets missing today, will they be able to really, really get to the root of it and find the person? All right, that's aside. Now, this is a military that is actually struggling with heavily armed criminals already. They're struggling with this already. And this happens. Okay, so the caller mentioned somebody who was killed and all that. It has been on the rise from the start, from the outset. It has always been there. Now it is very alarming, more than before, more than ever. And we are still here saying this. We are always the last to do stuff. Look at you know, the pandemic. Nigeria would not even have been, you know, affected with that at all. But we were there because for the longest, nobody had it in Nigeria. But we were relaxed and we're like, okay, people were coming in from the UK and all that. Do you get they're not doing the right thing? And we're still going to be here talking. Since I was small, they've been talking on radio. People will call and be angry and all that. And we are still here. Are we a joke? We are funny.
And we keep talking.
We're funny.
And we keep talking. But I have a call from Mike. Mike from Wales. Are you there? Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, ladies.
Good morning, sir.
Nice seeing you again.
Good morning.
What happened yesterday at the Nigeria Defense Academy? Came home, you know, as a young boy, born and bred at the Ikeja military cantonment, grew up within the vicinity of the 9th Brigade. It's so touching. That is a slap for Nigeria. The Nigeria Defense Academy, they moved to their new site, I think, around 2006, close to the airport in Kaduna. Now, that is like our standoff, because in the UK, they have it as standoffs, where even Buhari, Babangida, they all went there for training. So I cannot imagine standoffs being attacked. Attacking Nigeria Defense Academy is like attacking Aso Rock itself.
I agree.
If you take the military out of the country, if you take the military out of the country, that is the end of the country. What brought down Afghanistan is because the military failed. This is a slap. And you ask me as the president, people are saying kidnapped presidents never address the nation. Look, the Defense Academy, the president doesn't talk. Nobody in the House of Assembly has that gut, as we see on the street, have the liver to ask for the impeachment of the president. Is it until we don't have a country before we start to talk? Morales, the other day, we always say, oh, people that live abroad, they are the ones that want to scatter the country. No, the people that want to scatter the country are the politicians. They need our military.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mike. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike.
You know what? We need to have that conversation about our military being infiltrated. We need to talk about the military that may be complicit. You know, part of them that may be complicit. And it takes me back to the Wadume story. We remember how that story has just gone almost silent.
Totally.
We remember how far the investigation went, where, you know, it was found that soldiers were complicit in how the police, who had done like a very good investigation and found who those who the kidnapper was, who those who were involved in, you know, just aiding and abetting that particular kidnapper. Some soldiers were named and then silenced. So the truth is that if in smaller things or things away from you, if you try to cover it up, it will come right up to your doorstep and it will tear your dress open and everybody will see for what it is. If you handle it when it's small, if there are people that we're already suspecting within the military to be complicit, to be, you know, two-faced, to be part of those who are pushing for this insurgency and cavorting and sitting down with the enemy, then you should have fished them out a long time ago. Constantly now, we hear all sorts of accidents. Nigerians are asking, you know, when, not to be a conspiracy theorist, when we had the military helicopter crash, you know, some months back, people were asking, how is it possible? Why don't we have any information to tell us what could have happened? You know, is there someone within the military that has compromised the military? And that's it for me, because I like him, like our last caller said, if you grew up especially in Kaduna, in Zaria, for those of us who have been to NDA, just even being in that vicinity scares you.
As in?
You know, because it's so heavily armed, you see them getting in there, the checks that is put in place before you can go through. So to now have, as they say, bandits. You know, they are calling them bandits. We're not talking of terrorists that have flown in from war-torn countries and are here to just destroy us. Bandits to walk in and get 3 military officers, take them out of that place.
It's quite embarrassing.
And kill them.
Yeah. Let's take this call from Prosper. Prosper from the UK. Buster from the UK. Are you there, sir?
I think we're having issues with our call.
So.
Please, I wanted to come in with the fact that we're playing politics. So deliberately, I know those that are watching have noticed that we read the headlines and we read seconders doing this one, APC, Kineko, and we move on because that's not our concern. And I think all Nigerians realize that we're not bothered about the politics because everybody in those political parties are playing for their selfish interests. They have their families and most of their assets are abroad. So everything that happens, it does not concern them. If anything happens, there's a private jet. We saw the way private jets showed up that will fly them to the next country where they can get on a plane to get out of this community, out of this country. So we're not playing their politics and we're not moved by politics. And I think that Nigerians must stay away from this political thing because I think now, in the next few years, we'll do election, they'll give you 1,000 naira, they'll give you a carton of noodles or give you a small derica of rice and you will vote whoever they say should come into power. This is an affront. This we must have a stronger response from our
We need to work together here. Let's quickly take a Buster. Buster is back online. Hello, Buster from the UK. Good morning. Can you hear me? Oh, there's a bit of delay. Let's even talk about the willingness of governments to do something.
Okay, because...
What's the body language? Okay, I think it's here.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning,
I don't know why we are... Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello? Hello?
We can hear you, sir. Go ahead. You're live.
Yes, I'm saying, why are we expressing outrage? Why are we shocked that the military bases have been attacked? Okay, I'm saying military bases have been attacked fast. So attacking NTA is not a new thing. Secondly, and more importantly, the military has lost its scare factor. Nobody is afraid of the military again. But what I'm surprised about is the fact that bandits could attack NTA and we could not deploy helicopter or jets to pursue them and neutralize them.
But you know that there's always
so much Buster for that.
Since we had Boko Haram and all this crisis, and then they had already put like different barriers before you enter any of all this military base.
So what happened now?
You don't drive straight, you don't walk through. So there are supposed to be multiple barriers. So is it that these people are familiar with them?
Yes,
so they were able to just go in.
That's what we're saying.
Yes, there are insiders, as I said. There are insiders. And apart from that, you know, you were asking the question like the willingness of the government. Yeah. Now, I think the government should get back to their, you know, work. And if they were even working at all before, because they had said before that they were winning the battle against this bandits. And I'm like, they have described them as, and I said it before, they're not bandits, they're criminals. So first of all, they have to understand that these are terrorists, these are criminals, and they should actually take it as it is. Because I don't know, we're just playing with our lives right here. And as Tope said earlier, she was talking about, how election will come and then people will start taking 1,000 naira, taking 5 jerikas and all that, noodles and all that, you know. And people should begin to know that this is their lives. This is about you. Affliction must not arise the second time. No, I'm just saying. Because
has got to the scriptures.
No, I will. And this is the reason. If you're here right now and you're thinking about your life, you don't even, everything looks bleak. And then you're thinking of your children, you're thinking of your generation. Must it arise the second time?
No.
Then you should know that we should be serious about this. We are a reflection of our leaders. So we can say, oh, we like sit down there and be criticizing and be saying that the president is this, the president is that. What exactly do you do? What do you do about it?
Thank you so much, Honeypot. We'll take a break now. When we come back, we continue this conversation, and I hope that we're getting more calls to talk about this. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. You can still be a part of this conversation by calling us on 081-270-53687 and 091-390-76948. We have a caller on the line, Vincent from Ikeja. Vincent, good morning.
Good morning, your view, King. It's not surprising that this is happening in Nigeria. I want us to take a cue from what's happening in Afghanistan.
Can you speak up a bit, Vincent?
I said I want us to take a cue and learn a lesson from what happened in Afghanistan.
Okay.
With the training and the equipment that the U.S. and the world gave them, the military boys willfully surrendered. That would mean after during the fight by the U.S. team, there are some elements in the team that were for Al-Qaeda. Now it's happening in Nigeria. They can attack our military base, how much more anywhere. So our House of Assembly leaders, both in the Senate and the General Chamber, should just get out of the place and let Nigeria, if we are going to survive it, I say not, because there is power in our numbers. Our leaders should just do something right now because we are crying. We are crying. If this could happen to where our defense machinery are being trained, what will happen in Kenya if they invade the Kenya? And they're even around us, and we don't even know. And they're paying this service because of party. The APC members couldn't say anything. And if they have to say...
Thank you so much, Vincent, for that call. So I was wondering, because a few times now we've heard that there have been meetings, different stakeholders trying to get former security heads to be a part of this. So those military heads that have retired, those people who held positions in the military and other security agencies. But so far, so good. I haven't seen the result of all of these meetings. What do you make of this? Are they not talking anymore? Are they not making plans? Or have they retired and brains have, retired as well? What's happening?
So I would say that I think it's a personal thing at the end of the day. As I think somebody mentioned, was it Tokwe who said that, there is politics in everything. And of course, I think it is politics. So you see that they are spending Nigerian money. They would have conferences and they would pay them for coming and all of those things, and they have wasted money, and at the end of the day, we don't even have a headway. So there is no point at all having all of this. What exactly can we do? I think there should be a proactive measure to this particular one. As we have said, I don't know how we're going to do it, but then I think they should think deeply on what to do, and they should take this seriously, because we just don't want to wake up one day and there will be no Nigeria again, or the whole, because no, it's so scary, because sometimes when you think about stuff like this, these are the things that come to mind. And I am, to just go back on what we said the other time, that two were kidnapped and one person was abducted. Two persons were killed and one person was abducted. The one person has been killed. So you can see how that is right now. And the fact that, I'll think that, of course, I'll say it again, that we are very, very lazy, because there is a school very close to the academy. They share a fence, and it has been attacked before, and nothing was done about it. And I think somebody here also mentioned that when something has happened to your neighbor, you should sit up. You shouldn't be so careless and be thinking that, oh, it is them. So if it has happened to a school that you share a fence with before, and you're just thinking that because it's not you, look at what has happened.
Is the word lazy or selfish? Because if this
selfish, lazy,
to people who, like the VIPs, you will see movement.
Okay, so the president, I know the president, the usual additional or Gabashi would issue the usual statement. But we need to see more than that, because you cannot, it's like you have an only child and they take your only child. It's like, so this is a major attack that shouldn't be taken lightly. But what your question about all this, our senior or ex-military officials, is that if you invite them and they finish the meeting and whatever suggestions they make does not get any approval, it's like they're wasting their time, and so they will stop giving the advice. It's like the fact that when I feel like there's no constitutional backing to any suggestions I make, so let me just keep quiet. It's like when I see, based on experience, that this thing you're doing will not work, and I tell you what you're doing will not work, but I can see from your body reaction you will not listen to me, I will withhold my advice. So that is exactly the way I think it's playing out now, because we sure do have intelligence on ground.
Yes, really, I think it's a political will to do the right thing. And sometimes political will is not only about just changing how things are, just changing the heads of, our forces. It could also mean punishing and calling out those who you have investigated and found complicit and making an example of them. But because you may feel, for some affiliations you may have, whatever they may be, so you decide to protect someone, what you're doing is that in some way perpetrating injustice. And what that does, it kills the morale of those who are supposed to be fighting this war and putting their best and laying their lives down. And then you find people who have now who are now saying, you know what, I can't even die for this country. There's no point. So it starts, this one, the buck stops right at the president's table.
Yes.
You need to step up and do something very powerful that sends a powerful message for whoever. For me, I honestly believe personally that this is an insider job. And so that has to be sorted.
Thank you so
quickly.
much, ladies, for this. Our hearts go out to the lieutenants that lost their lives and their families. I hope that God gives them the fortitude to bear the loss. We'll be taking a break now. When we come back, we'll go into other topics. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. Yet another sad story. So on the 30th of May, 136 students were kidnapped from the Salihu Tanko Islamia School in Tegina in Rafi local government area of the state. That's Niger State. 6 out of those children have reportedly been killed. Or died in captivity. And according to the story, they were said to be ill. They had taken ill, and the bandits are asking for ransom. So they asked for 110 million and then moved it to 200 million at the time. Now they're asking for the ransom to be paid so that they can release the remaining students in captivity. This story is so heartbreaking.
It is so sad, heartbreaking, heart-wrenching. I don't know how I feel right now. I am angry. I don't even know how to feel, So May the 30th, and this is August.
Yeah.
These are children. And then the only call that the principal has received is that 6 out of these people, 136, have died. Please, where do we go from here? I mean,
I understand how you feel, Honeypot, because here we always say that sometimes some of the conversations we have at this table, the energy, you take it home with you. These are people's realities, At least we can have the conversation and go home. Their parents are constantly living this. Every day wondering where their children are. Imagine sleeping and waking up and wondering where your children are, what is going on with them. So we now have 6 of them who have died. And, we have a policy in our country where we do not negotiate with kidnappers and with bandits. And the amounts of monies that they are calling, I don't know how many parents can put that together. Even for the family, for the schools that parents are able to put this together, like the Bethel School, we hear that by the time they get their children, they're so pale, they look ill, who knows how many days without food. There was a time we had, I think those that abducted the Bethel students were asking for, apart from money, for food to feed your children that we have abducted. So with the Islamia students, honestly, with their own case, everything just went silent. I don't hear the agitation and, the outrage we have, like, for other students. For the Islamia school, it is sad and then it's quiet. We have a particular parent whose 7 of his children are among those who were abducted. So since May 30th, this month, 7 children, along with all the other 136. Unfortunately, 130 now, have been in the abductors den. There was a time we took a paper where it said that people had come together to go and talk to the kingpin of these kidnappers. And my question, I asked then, and I still ask now, is if you know where this kingpin lives, if you have his number, if you know how to go and have a conversation with them or to beg them, what is happening? Why can't we save the children? Why can't we arrest these people? What is happening? I'm just as,
let me continue.
That's where we are right now.
It's a sad reality of many parents. the numbers keep increasing, the number of lives that we can lose, that we have avoidable deaths that we have suffered, the number of parents who have died. You know, this entire thing started with the Chibok story when after those ones happened, and there was some long before them, but they were like the flagship. And since then, it's now become a number. Like I wonder if our leaders, when they have these fake meetings and they discuss the number of people that are still in custody of our kidnappers, do they put a face to those people? Like do they that are in captivity with the kidnappers? Do they put a face? Do they think of it like somebody that was writing WAEC, this person that is somebody's sister, this is somebody's child, this is somebody's investment, like somebody prayed for this miracle? Like, you know, can we put a bit of, because sometimes they'll be like, oh, leaders don't have to, they have to put emotions aside, but you have to have an emotion.
You need emotions.
You need to have it. You need empathy to be able to understand the plight of your citizens. Because just this weekend, we were lamenting on Monday that our president had a lavish wedding, only to hear just a few days after that, 6 children have died in. So you're happy to celebrate with your children in a country where your citizens are losing their children. It is all shades of wrong, and we must call a spade a spade. We cannot have the National Assembly sitting down looking like this. Yeah, it can't
I haven't
continue.
even heard anything from the government. I haven't.
It is more sad that the spokesperson of the president will say that the president cannot eat or could not eat the day he heard that some children were kidnapped. So what does that amounted to at the end of the day?
But he ate at his party. He ate at his own child's
wedding party. Let's talk about solutions. So I know we're not security officials here. We're not trained in that. But is there anything that we can begin to do to protect not just our lives, but that of our children in a failing system where you don't even know, you're taking your children to school, you don't even know if there's anything is going to happen in school before you get back in the afternoon? Is there anything we as parents can do? Should we suggest homeschooling? Because I'm at a loss.
The only thing is prayer. Beecee, the sincere truth is we just need to pray that it doesn't befall us.
We have been praying.
That's the only thing we can do. You know why? Because most of our politicians and most of our leaders, their children are not here. And when the children are around, they have escorts. Do we have escorts? Do our children have escorts? Can we afford I went to supermarket one day and I saw a military official guard job carrying AK for like a rifle. I don't know what AK for. I don't know. But he was carrying a rifle and he was standing by the security door of a supermarket. Why? A VIP was going to shop and go outside. Until Nigeria is safe for the average Nigerian, then it is just a prayer thing. I also seriously feel that the conversation needs to be less of insulting the president or the political leaders, but letting them know, threatening them to realize that we are going to vote you out. Like, we know what we're doing. Guess what? 2 million people have registered for their PVC, and they're all young people. So let's get more young people. You have, when you have power is in 2023, you have the power then. So get yourself your PVC. Ensure that you get yourself all you need to be able to vote, and don't let anybody buy your votes. Then you also ensure that you carry people along so that you're not voting yourself alone. You have at least 5 people that you are influencing to vote against the injustice, the lack of equity, and the insecurity happening in our environment right now.
Okay, so we have a caller, Ade from London. Hello, Ade, are you there? Hello, Ade.
Ade, we are waiting for you.
Oh, there's a bit of delay. Okay. Yeah. So I wanted to talk about...
Hello, good morning, ladies.
Good morning, Ade.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I want to discuss about the security of our country. Hello?
We can hear you, Ade. You're live.
Okay. Only God can help us in Nigeria. If you want to observe what I'm saying, go to anywhere in the north on Friday. You can enter anywhere. Either Army Barrack, anywhere, Palace, anywhere. What is Friday? Anybody can enter in the name of prayer. That's how people, Boko Haram will do their surveillance. Because they will go there in the name that they want to pray. So they enter anywhere on Friday, all the north. Are open. Anywhere. You understand? So we need to be very careful in our country, the way things are going. Nobody can go to NDA just like that without insider. People are going there for prayer or whatever to do the surveillance and go there to carry out this thing.
Thank you so much, Ade. Thank you. He's also reiterated what we said, that nobody can you know, have the effrontery without an insider, and the fact that, you know, we still suspect that the military is compromised. But I would like to say, like I've always said this here, that if we make it impossible for people who are leading us to have their children outside the country, schooling outside the country, going for medical care outside the country, maybe they would pay more attention. Is that? Can't we talk about putting it in the Constitution? Well, why do we have...
We've had a House of Rep member, I think, who had a conversation with us and tried to push it, and this was something that was not well received. So this is something that he's still pushing, but we know of so many bills that in 2 weeks, you know, they pass it. Exactly, you know, they pass it, and it's, you know, but see, for me, it's for the sake of these children, we cannot leave these children in captivity. We cannot pretend this does not exist. We cannot say, oh, well, we do not negotiate with kidnappers. If we do not negotiate with kidnappers, then we must arrest kidnappers and free those in captivity. We cannot have children hundreds of days, 45 days, 46 days. You know, Daily Trust makes it a point of duty to tell us how many days these children are in captivity every day. So it's just... Really, we have had state governors also talk about how their hands are tied. Like, you know, I've done my best, there's nothing we can do, we're putting everything in place. It just seems as if no one can do anything. So where you ask parents to raise 200 million in this present day Nigeria, where are they going to raise it from? In fact, now, I've even gotten to the point where it's like, I'm appealing to the kidnappers. Can we reduce the price of something so that these children can come home?
We have a caller, Hassan from Lekki. Hassan, are you there?
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Hassan.
There is fire on the mountain. Let me be very, very frank with you. I can see negligence on the part of NDA High Command.
Exactly. Negligence.
I can see negligence on the part of our armed forces.
Yes.
I can see indifference on their part.
You got the words right.
If you are conversant with the geography of Kaduna Airport, there are two ways out of it. One leading to Rigatuku, the other one going to the main town. For over 2 years now, there was this recorded kidnapping, continuous kidnapping and killing in that alley. Now, very close to NDA, Nigeria Airport, they kidnapped some workers of fire. And now, NDA High Command are now telling us that they are not on alert. There must be something wrong there.
Definitely.
And Mr. President must sit up and bring them up and deal decisively with those guys that are responsible for negligence.
Thank you so much, Hassan. Thank you so much, Hassan. Some people have also said that the president is just bidding time, that is almost out. What is the hope that
where's the chief of army staff? Where's the chief? We have a chief of army staff, and he's a new chief of army staff, and we've seen him. There was a picture I saw of him looking. There was the picture of him visiting one of the. I think divisions, and the picture looked really good, and we're applauding them looking very smart, but it goes beyond looking smart. It's the fact that you need to weed out those that are doing, that are undermining your efforts. You need to weed out those that are undermining your efforts in a way that is obvious to everybody that if they try it, they will get punished. So court-martial is not something that should take years to happen. If they were people culpable, at least for the case of the kidnapped kingpin, the Wadume. We know the Wadume story. There were names mentioned, and those specific guys have been able to remain within the system, even though the court-martial is dealing with it. It's taking too long. You need to, justice needs to be meted out sharp, that you have found culpable. Everybody that was on duty that day, they are facing court-martial, the investigation, they trace every account, they find who got money or who has affiliations with any of the bandits. That person gets not a firing squad straight, they shoot. Every other person sits up. As long as there is no justice and people get away with whatever they are doing,
everybody wants
impunity.
People
will have fun. Yes, it becomes business. It becomes business. How can bandits have more ammunition than our military?
I don't
How can
get
they?
it.
Like it just doesn't. It's because you cannot intelligently. An intelligent person cannot rationalize it. So obviously, that's why we all resort to
spiritualizing every situation that happens here.
Because we don't have anything to do with.
What Tope has said cannot be overemphasized, but I think people are not still getting the picture because this is a primary and junior school. So you can imagine, like, these
children.
are children. You can, thank you so much, babies. And babies have not been there for how many months? And then they just sent a word that 6 of them have died. So what is the fate of the remaining that are there? I think we should just get down to business already. It is more than talking, sitting down, and all that. Unfortunately, we are helpless because, I mean, we can't do anything about it. We can just stay down here and talk. But the thing is, the people who are, you know, supposed to be protecting us should be protecting us. Yeah. Should be protecting us.
You already mentioned the solution.
Just, please, let's do all we can to help those children come out. That's all I have to say, really. Because I have been on this table every day. We lament the same thing over and over again. And sometimes, you know, sound like a broken record, almost sounding like the Nigerian government, where we say the same thing over and over again. The thing is, let these children just come out, please.
Thank you so much. Because I was just going to say that, and the thing again is that if anybody is thinking that the way out is of just going away from this country, there is nowhere like home. This is our home. So something must be done. We can't run away from it.
To solve the issue. Yeah. Do we have tubes? Do we have books?
It's not loading.
No, it's not loading.
Beecee, all of us have said this several times, and you also have always said it, that the solution will be for people to wear the shoes. You know, if you don't wear the shoe, you don't know how it pinches.
That's right.
So until our leaders are wearing the shoes of your child might be the one being kidnapped next.
They won't feel what we're feeling.
Put his son there, and then they realize that this shoe is pinching me. He took his son out of a public school, and we need to implement that rule. So everything we can do to support the Honorable who was pushing for that rule, I just can't remember his name right now, but was pushing for the rule that would ensure that politicians and anyone occupying political position has their children in schools here and have their healthcare in Nigeria. Then we'll see major improvement. But as long as there's an escape route, people can escape.
Yeah, they feel they have a choice. Thank you so much, ladies.
And thank you
it was quite a very sad show based on the topics that we treated, but it was good.
But we enjoyed having you host the show today.
You did very well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. That's all we can take for today. I had a message quickly that I was supposed to take from So our producer, Maradesa, has a personal birthday shout-out to Eddie Megwa, the state coordinator for the NYSC in Lagos. Happy birthday, Eddie Megwa. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, sir. God bless you. That's all we can take for today. Join us tomorrow, and bye-bye.
Bye-bye.